Hello friends, and welcome back to Random Hearts. Yes, that is garlic sitting on the counter. We are finally getting to planting our garlic. This video was shot in mid-October, and I apologize that it's just now coming out. I wanted to get it out sooner, but unfortunately, right as my garlic bulbs arrived, my husband and I tested positive for COVID. And I am going to be completely voicing over this video because at the time I was doing this, I was not feeling very well and my voice was literally gone. So my garlic did finally arrive. It was mid-October when it arrived, which was almost a full month past our frost date. Our ground was still nice and soft and we hadn't really frozen yet, but we'd had a couple of nights that were really low. So I wasn't feeling good, like I said, this day, but I really needed to get this out. I looked at the extended forecast and there was no way that I could wait any longer. And so, feeling well or not, I still had to get this out into the garden. So really all I'm doing here is I am gently taking the outer layers of the garlic off and then separating the cloves from that central stalk. These are a hard-necked variety, which is why they have that central stalk, and that tends to grow better in our colder climate from what I have researched. This is my first time actually growing garlic, so we'll see how this goes, but I'm just gently taking those cloves apart, separating them from the stem, and then we'll get ready to plant them in the ground. Now the hard-neck variety that I'm planting here is called Music, and there were approximately 5 to 6 cloves per bulb. I ordered 6 bulbs, and so I ended up with, I think, 32 garlic cloves to plant, which is actually perfect. It ended up being exactly half of my 3 by 6 foot beds. So I am just cleaning up and counting the garlic cloves here, and then we're going to plant. Now I did want to mention that the garlic that we're planting today is going into a prepared bed. I had prepared this well over a month ago and have since added some steer manure to it. We are going to be using this trowel. There is a 2-inch mark on the trowel that I am going to be using as a guide to dig a trench. Now the garlic itself said that it should be planted 1 to 2 inches deep, but I am erring on the side of caution by planting this 2 inches deep rather than 1. We can get down to -30 here. We have not in the past several years, but who's to say that this won't be that year that we get low again. So I am just going 4 rows across this half of the bed. I've calculated that if I put each garlic bulb in, or each clove in, at approximately 4 inches apart, that I can get 32 of these in 4 rows. And so I am going to go ahead and put these right along my drip line so that when we do turn our drip system on in the spring, that they are right on a water source. So I'm just cleaning out these rows, getting them prepared, and then I am going to be adding some Biotone. This is a product that can stimulate the growth and root rates for basically any kind of plant you put in the ground. It is great for starting things like bulbs and plants, and so I am just spreading that out kind of generously into those trenches and getting ready to prepare for the bulbs. As I get ready to plant these garlic cloves, I want to make sure that I am facing them the right direction. So remember when I was taking the garlic off of the main bulb, the bottom kind of had roots on it, and that is where all of the new roots will come from, is that same bottom section. So I want to put these into the ground so that root section is going downward and the pointy part is facing towards the sky. So they're kind of standing on end in the ground. And I'm just going to push those down into the ground. I'm about 4 inches from the edge of the bed, and then I'm going to use my trowel to go ahead and measure another 4 inches from the top of the one I just planted to the next one. Now I do have a little bit of trouble with this because the ground is a little bit stiff in some of these areas, and I think I've mentioned this before. This bed suffers from elm tree roots that kind of compact it. I don't think that's going to cause us any problems with these garlic growing, but it is causing me a little bit of trouble right here actually getting the cloves down into the ground because it is a little tiny bit compacted. So you'll see here in a minute, I have to use my trowel to kind of dig down a little, but I am planting these, like I said, 2 inches, 2 inches down, 4 inches apart, and then I will just cover those with the soil as soon as the trench is completely filled. Now the next 3 rows, I do change my method here a little. I was having trouble seeing the tops of the one I had just planted, so I'm just going to lay them on the ground, measure 4 inches, and then move on. And then I'll come back to the ones at the front and push them down into the ground. So this seemed to be a little bit easier for me than the first rows method. But like I said, this is my first time planting garlic, and so this is a lot of trial and error, what works, what doesn't work. And of course my COVID brain, I couldn't even count up to 8, crazy, but I really was struggling that day. And I am so happy that I got these into the ground when I did, because we actually got a hard frost 2 days later and snow that weekend. So I'm really happy I got them in the ground when I did. That was really important for me. Now that I've got them all laid out in the row, I'm just going to push them down. So I'm using my finger because I am measuring from the top. So the top of my garlic is 2 inches down, but the bottom of the garlic is definitely a little further than that. So I don't know if that's a good method to do, but that is what I did this time. So I'm just pushing the dirt around and then reattaching my staples on my drip line, and then we are ready to go ahead and put on our mulching layers, which for me this time will be aged straw and a soil conditioner, which I use on all of my beds all year round. This is a combination of compost and very finely shredded bark, and this I am putting on top of the straw because it is heavier than the straw and it will keep it from blowing around. If I just put straw on here, the wind will just take it away and it will do no good. So I've got about 2 inches of straw and just a little bit of this composting material on top, and that is the bed all ready to go for winter. And winter did arrive. So this is just one of our many snowstorms we've had since the end of October, and we are getting down into the teens for overnight lows, and some of our wind chills are already hitting those sub-zero temperatures. So I'm just grateful that I was able to get this into the ground when I did. I'm also grateful for you and all of our new subscribers. I appreciate every one of you. I hope that you will continue to stay with us, even though we do not have many garden videos coming with all this winter weather. But we hope you're having a lovely day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.